Okay, very good. And also another prop, which we discussed, which would be helpful to get us going, is a universal design swivel OXO potato or carrot peeler. It says OXO right here. This is important because it's universal design, which is part of the retail aspect of why Rob and I decided that this was an important aspect of the aging process from 50 plus on population, whether it be in the US, the UK, Japan, anywhere we have the advanced industrialized countries, we have a larger population of 50 plus than the 18 and under, which is happening right now as we speak. So we thought it'd be helpful to bring in some of the examples of how things are with the retail market, meaning the residential and commercial aspects of living, because they involve a lot of money and planning. And this educational portion will be about education and planning. And then the second half will be the illustrations of or suggestions or examples of what we have here in the US for housing and types of specialty housing for the 50 plus population. So the driving force here as far as solutions is start saving your money now, because you'll need it to live a really longer life. The other piece of this is, as a social gerontologist studying aging and behavior, is we have much longer runway of life. We have 10, 20, 30 more years to live well. And that will be shown in a lot of charts, love charts, because they explain it better than I can. So I am here because I'm part of the solution. And in social gerontology, I studied through my courses lots and lots of examples and statistics, also with environmental gerontology, which is the interior of your home, and the exterior, which goes to age-friendly communities, which I know is in the UK as well. As far as my background, how I got here, most of my career has been in goods and services, whether it be in the retail clothing market, or it's in the hotel industry, where I was 11 years with Lowe's Hotels, or when I was the head of the host committee for the Grammy Awards in New York City and dealt with the entire city, helping them bring the theme of music throughout and get them involved in the different concerts we were having, and clothing, and buying different types of recordings. Also, I was an artist with a partner. And then I became a social gerontologist because I felt with my mother, who is 98 years young and is considered a super ager, 85 and over, with a cognitive ability of 20 years younger, is considered a super ager. And my daughter, who is 28, and she's finishing her first year of medical school. And we have lots of interesting conversations about aging, lots. So that's who I am. That's where I've been: marketing, branding, aging well, and being purposeful, productive, and positive. So let's start with how I got here, which I just explained. In my 2 years in my master's program, I studied, I worked toward universal design as my capstone. Later on, we'll find out about universal design. So that's why I held up this swivel potato peeler. Do you see the grip? It used to be back in the day, not that long ago, or maybe in your homes, you had a metal grip. And when your hands get wet, right, and it goes around your hand, and then you start slicing your finger instead of the potato or the carrot, Farber came along and created a whole line, 1,000 and more items of OXO to make your lives easier. Plus, you can use this for a 4-year-old because it's an easier grip for a young person. So it's really universal design for all ages, lots of ages. But we'll get to that later. So that's where I am. And let's go on to find out about why it is important to know.
Slide.
Yes. First slide, please. That's the potato peeler, a larger picture. And then next slide. Thank you. This is a slide that is talking about age by generation. As I mentioned before, and I'm looking down to make sure I have coordinated my notes, there are 2 reasons to be here today and to help everyone along in this solution part of the day. First is for us to be proactive, to know that we're going to live longer and start saving for it and planning for it, and understand that we might be downsizing and selling off or discarding things, but also we need to buy new things for as we age that are universal design or that are purposeful in how we're living in our homes, which is part of the age-friendly interior and exterior of your home. And the second is to start saving forward, because we're going to live in more than one home at 50 plus, most likely, or age in place, and still need to renovate toward that means. So here we have an example of where we are at this time in the United States. We have six, all you see here is five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different generations, and there's one more. And what's important to see here in the slide is that the greatest generation at this point in time has 1.75 million people. And my mother is a part of that population. That's a lot of people. It's one of the largest growing populations. 100 plus is definitely happening here and the UK and other countries. The silent generation came next, and then baby boomers. I'm a baby boomer. Are there folks out there who are baby boomers? Raise your hand. Or maybe, yeah, there we go. Hi, Ian. Or part of the next generation, Gen X and millennials. What you see here is a steep incline of population. And then we get to Gen Z, which is decreasing. And there are a number of reasons, which we'll find out later. There's one more population that's not on this chart called Alpha. And Alpha is the newest, youngest population that started in 2012. And we don't have enough results on them yet because they're not working. They're just being kids. Next slide, please. This one is another interesting slide as I go through my notes. This one shows the population growing older, the US growing older population reference bureau. I've just chosen a lot charts that have statistics or strong aging agencies or national, the NIH, National Institute on Aging, so that we have the real stats that are coming through from national studies. So this one shows, again, the number of the older and younger populations and how they started from the 1900s into 2016. And you could see a widening of the 85 plus and a shrinking of the 0 to 17 age group. And just hold that one there because I'd like to also give you some other information. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics has stated that the number of 75 and older in the labor force is expected to grow 96.5% by 2030. The labor force is expected to increase by 8.9 million or 5.5% from 2020 to 2030. And these are important facts to consider when we're looking at the working force being older and should be accepted and not invisible when they're 50 plus, rather than booted out the door, should be included because we have a wealth of data and we're enthusiastic and we're not going off the cliff at 65. We're aging even better and we're more pliable and knowledgeable and tech-friendly, age tech. So we need to constantly understand, and that's why I'm here today to talk about the statistics from the housing point of view as well as the population point of view. So here we are in this one. Now let's go on to the next slide, please. This one's my favorite because that's what I grew up with. The one on the left was the pyramid. This was the pyramid. The younger folks were on the bottom, a big population, and the top was where the older folks went and then they fizzled out. That was when I knew growing up, 1960. Now let's look 100 years later and understand that we're not there yet. And what we see is the pillar. And what we see is the widening in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s of population and a narrowing at the very bottom. So at the very top is growing, as I said, 85 plus is one of the largest growing populations. Again, this is a repeat of the idea that we don't have enough younger folks coming into the population. This is true, I think, in the UK as well. And we need to understand that the tax implications would be that we don't have enough tax coming in from the younger people. We don't have enough younger folks to work to take care of the older population. It's an interesting concept. I don't have any answers. I just know that we need to know about this. So the next slide, please. Oh, I think I missed a slide here. Could you go to the next one, please? Yes. Okay. This is the UK 1950. You can see the pyramid. And then to the next slide, please. And 2050, you see more of a pillar. So the UK and the US have similar situations with the male and female population, where there's a larger population from the 30s up and a smaller one from, let's say, the 20s and down. Next slide, please. I think I missed one. Can you go back to the before the, I think I put them in proper order. Okay. How to plan ahead to age in place. What support can help me age at home? And here's personal care, household chores, meals, money, etc. Next slide, go past this stat. Okay, here we go. So this is universal design, Farberware. Universal design came about when there was I'm sorry, this is the Farberware slides to show you what pots were available when Sam Farber created them. Next slide, please. And this is what we have now. It's called OXO Good Grip Kitchen Utensils. And as you can see, this is what we have. Next slide, please. When we talk about the 7 principles of both residential and commercial for universal design, you can see that these are the parts of what is included in creating universal design products, whether it's something in your home, such as faucets, that work this way rather than a knob. Doorknobs have levers, which is easier than a doorknob. Walk-in showers are easier than stepping over a tub and going in, whether you're a 4-year-old or older. These are some of the examples. Next slide, please. Part of the aging well and aging healthy, as we're talking about environmental gerontology and the environment and how you set up your household, there are 8 domains of livability, or the age-friendly communities, and these are the 8. So you have to understand that, and need to understand that within the UK, US, and elsewhere in the whole world, these 8 were set up to help us form a better system within each of our cities, towns, states, and countries. Housing, outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, walkability, communication, being able to get from your house to the doctor's office or activities. These are all within the 8 domains of livability. Next slide, please. Another example of where to live is on granny pods, in granny pods. Has anyone here seen these tiny homes, granny pods? They're very small. They are either pre-built and set into a backyard if you have the right zoning, and your older adult parent can live in that home, and it's set up with all the age-friendly and universal design and easy access type of home. You have a bedroom, and you have a bedroom and another living space. You can go into the kitchen in the house, or it being your small kitchen. There also, if you have your adult child moving back home, that's a place where they can have their privacy. Next slide, please. Costs have a lot to do with what we're going to spend in the retail business. And renovations, universal design, increases in healthcare costs. Do you need a part-time job to support yourself because you're living older? When do I need to stop driving, which means car services? Fitness. Fitness has now become a key piece of aging well. Getting enough sleep, being fit, eating well. These are all not modern ideas. These are improved ideas of how to keep your health and to keep your activity and be productive. I call wardrobe and shoes an essential. I think everybody here could probably say that. I thought we'd have some fun with that one. Next slide. Latitude Margaritaville. Let's talk about why Latitude Margaritaville has happened and what it is all about, and why Rob led into it with saying that we have a situation now that is brand conscious, that is the extension of the brand, is what's happened with Latitude Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett of Buffett World extended his brand to those who are 55 plus into a senior living community. Started in Florida, now it's going to Texas. It's now been announced that it's going into Mexico. It's a 55 plus community that has homes, houses, and townhomes. And you have all the imagined all the activities and the themes and the fins up and the beach and wearing this flowery shirt. That's why I'm wearing it. That is what we have going on in Latitude Margaritaville, and it started in 2017. And I have to tell you that these homes are being bought up. And it's from 55 and up who have grown up with Jimmy Buffett. Next slide, please. This is another way of looking directionals. It's Lost Shaker of Salt, Fins Up, Town Center, Hilton Head Island. That's one of the locations. Next slide, please. The next one that is really exciting is, shoot, I was going to play Disney. Wait a minute, I have it here. Disney is the next one. Here we go. It's not happening. Wait, there. Here.
Hi, Sharon. I don't think the tech is going to work in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Disney. Disney has created Disney Story Living. It started out in California, in the Palm Springs area, and it is for all ages, open, active living, as well as 55 plus living in a designated community. Next slide, please. Oh, is that it? So what I wanted to share as a conclusion is imagine living anywhere, whether it be in the traditional senior living communities, and there are the largest one is Brookdale, and there are many others across the United States, which is the senior living where you have mahjong and you have cards and you have music and you have swimming and you have fitness. But the age tech and the concept of branding and continuing it is part and parcel with what's happening now, with grabbing those new 55 and over adults looking for someplace they'd like to live that is part of what they've grown up with. Questions?